Okay, so we're back. We just put in the failover MAC addresses, and again, as I was saying off the top, it's passing over to the standby in the event the active unit fails. It's passing over its MAC address and the IP address on it. That way, none of the devices on the inside have to, re-ARP and find the new IP that goes with the new MAC or anything, right? Everything's it's pretty much seamless for the users on the inside. So now we'll continue on. We'll do failover link, the name we created before, which was failover, and then Ethernet 3. That's the interface we're using for failover, right? We're going to do a failover interface IP, the name again, failover, and then we're going to put the we're going to put the failover IPs, and we said it would be 1.1.1.1, the subnet mask, which we said was 30 bits, and then the standby by IP, which is 1.1.1.2, and you don't need the mask there because you've already put it in. Enter, and remember we talked about the failover IP here, .1 going here, .2 going there, and we've earlier up here we told it Ethernet 3. Here you go, right? Which we said as well before. The last thing you need to do over here is enable failover by typing failover. So that's all we need to do in the primary box. So have a quick look. So all we did was configured our interfaces, security levels, took them out of shutdown, put on the IP address with subnet mask, and then the keyword standby and the IP address we want on the standby device. We did that for every interface except 3. This is our failover interface, we said, so we just took it out of shutdown and left it alone. And then down here, commands we did, right? LAN unit primary, the LAN interface, we called it failover Ethernet 3, LAN enabled, failover LAN enabled. We did the replication HTTP, which we talked about. We wrote the physical interfaces with the active device, primary active device, and then the standby device's MAC address for each interface, because they're going to pass those back and forth, right? To be ready to take over the MAC address, assume it on the standby. We had failover link, the name failover Ethernet 3, like we said, and then the interface IP from the failovers is .1 and .2 on the standby, right? And that was everything we needed to do there. So now we're going to finish up by configuring the standby unit. So config T. There's a lot less you have to do here. Interface wise, you're just going to go into the failover interface, which for us was E3, and do a no shut. That's it. You're done with interface configuration. You're going to do a failover LAN unit secondary. Right. So on the other device we did primary. Right. Other than that, everything here is going to be identical. We're going to do failover LAN interface again, right? LAN interface. The name we used, which was failover, and tell it that it's on Ethernet 3. And again, it's doing the same thing as before. Non-failover interface config is cleared on E3, so it's going to look like the E3 over here, right? There's nothing on that interface. It's solely for the failover communication to talk back and forth and replicate, right? So we're going to do failover LAN enable, just like we did before. We're going to do failover interface IP, the name failover, and the same thing we did on the primary, 1.1.1.1, the subnet mask, and then standby 1.1.1.2. Exactly the same way we entered it into the primary device, right? We're not now putting, because we're in the standby box, we're not putting the standby IP first. We're still doing it exactly the same way we did it in the primary interface. And then the last thing you need to do, I'll just make some room here so you can see messages. Last thing we need to do is enable failover by typing failover. Now if we keep an eye here, they should start talking. There you go. Detected an active mate. Beginning configuration replication from my mate. So he knows he's the standby because we told him secondary, right? Beginning configuration replication, sending to my mate. And always the information is passed from the primary active unit to the secondary standby unit. It's actually not primary active, because when the primary is in standby, he's still primary, but he's standby, right? The important thing is when you're entering commands, you only enter on the active unit. The active unit will pass info to the standby unit. If you put info into the configuration into the unit that's in standby, it will not pass it to the active unit, and your configurations will be out of sync. And it will actually tell you that if you go ahead and do it, enter commands into the failover, it will tell you a warning. Your configuration is now out of sync. The only way to get it back into sync really is to take the commands that you entered in the incorrect device and enter them into the correct device. And again, the correct device is the active device. Okay, so it's end of replication from mate. So you can see already the host name has changed. If we have a look at the config, all the interfaces are configured, taken out of shutdown, security levels, names, our IP addresses, the same way we entered them in on the active unit, the primary unit. They've all come over here. E3 even, right? Well, that's we had to configure E3. That's how they ended up talking and syncing, right? And then the few failover commands we had to put in. Failover, the LAN unit, this one is secondary. Again, the other one is primary. Other than that, is you can't really tell them apart. All the MAC addresses, everything the exact same way we put them in on the primary. That's how it is on the secondary. So the best way to tell, and probably one of the things you should do every time you get into your firewall, is to do a show failover. You could just type show fail for short, but you can see this host is secondary. It's standby and ready. The other host is primary and active. And if we go to the other host and do a show failover, this host primary and active. The other host secondary, standby ready, right? So now anything you type over here will get replicated over here automatically. You'll see. Watch, if we do we can build an access list. Call it outside ACL. We'll say to deny IP any, and hit enter. This device will know that you've entered that configuration. Thought we would get a message though, to tell you the truth. There you go. See, the access list entry went in, and we only typed it into the primary, right? Like if we came over here and did a show run access group, right? Access group, there is no access group. But if we come over here and apply that ACL to an interface now, access group, outside ACL, in on interface outside, show run access group, you see he's pushed it over to the other unit. Now the thing is, it's not saved in the standby unit. If you want to save it to flash memory, you can do a write to mem, or you can do a copy running to startup config, right? But the write to mem will work. And there you go. See, he knows he's copied his config into flash. So now he actually has the config in the flash there saved. Okay, a couple of optional things we didn't do. We can do failover key, and then this is your secret key. You can put whatever you want. We'll call it the secret failover key, right? So this is to encrypt communication. We're going to use this key to create the encryption keys between the two devices. So when they're passing their state information and all, maybe you don't want anyone to see it, you don't trust the segment it's on passing the info or something, you can encrypt it. So they'll use this as like the initialization vector, right, for creating the encryption. Other thing you can do is you can adjust the failover pull times. So the pull time is how often they send hello packets back and forth. They're sending hellos to see if you're up or you're down or what. I think the default is, let's have a question mark here, 15 seconds. Yeah, so it's 15 seconds. And then the hold time, how long before it will actually be declared failed and do a failover. I think it's 5 times, I think, the default value. It's either 3 or 5, sorry, I can't remember offhand. So you may want to make this maybe the pull time 3. Oh yeah, see, 3 times. It's gone to 9 seconds because the hold time to 9 because we made the pull time to 3. Because if there's a flapping network or you've got some latency and it takes a little longer than 9 seconds, then you're going to fail over, right? So if you got a really congested network, you may want to make that a little longer. I think I've run out of time on this video. I'm pretty close to 10 minutes, if not more by now. So I'm going to stop this one and look for part 3 in the failover series. Okay, talk to you soon.